Hello out there, all you wonderful people. This is Andre, the Game Idea Guy. Thank you once again for lending me your time and your ear, listening into another Gamer's Thoughts video from me. And so I'm going to be talking about Google Stadia. Now, honestly, parts of the presentation, they were kind of nice. They were cool. And I do get that there are people who have skepticism over it. I myself am partially skeptical. I mean, yeah, the idea kind of sounds cool. I like the idea. It's kind of cool to me, and there's reason it's cool to me. But at the same time, I can understand why people be skeptical if you're talking about playing games over an online streaming service, basically, and during your live stream of that, there are hiccups. I can understand why people would be a bit skeptical. I don't have a problem with people being skeptical. I get it. I truly understand why somebody would be like, yeah, this worries me a little bit. Point taken. But the concept itself isn't bad. It's just the lack of a physical device will cause some problems for people. And I get where Google's trying to go with this, or what they're trying to do and show people. But at the same time, you've got to understand the industry that you're working in. Like, you guys are used to doing mobile gaming, which in and of itself is a bit different of a beast from home platforms and dedicated hardware. Like, it's a different beast altogether. But yeah, having this low latency streaming service would be great. Now, here are the problems. Here are the problems that can be easily pointed out by anybody. Firstly, you need high-speed internet, so that means anybody thinking that they're going to get this on a dial-up connection, you are screwed. And that means that a lot of people in rural areas won't be able to play on this service. They won't be able to play anything on this platform at all. Also, the quality of what you get fed back to you depends on the quality of your internet service again. So even if you do have high-speed internet and you can get a connection to play the game, that doesn't necessarily mean that you are going to be getting that 4K stream. Doesn't mean you're going to be getting that. Then there's also, what else was it? Well, yeah, the lack of a physical medium is a bit of a problem for a lot of people, which means at the same time, you can basically turn any device you have into this platform. But that also means that there's no dedication to it. Like, there's no dedicated level of hardware performance that people will be working around. And I get what Google wants to do with having limitless bounds and stuff like that, but at the same time, the limitation is what breeds creativity in a lot of game developers. Like, sure, you can throw together a whole bunch of stuff all at once, but if you don't have limitations to tell you, hey, you need to pull this back a little bit, you can't come up with creative ideas. And this is one thing that a lot of people like to point to is the Morph Ball from Metroid. That would not have been created if there were not limitations to the Nintendo hardware, where they couldn't get Samus to duck and crawl. They couldn't do the animations, so they made the Morph Ball instead. And that has become a staple of the Metroid franchise. Without that, that franchise itself would be wholly different. It wouldn't be the same thing as it is today. It wouldn't exist the same way it did. So, the limitations that hardware can give you can sometimes be good, because it makes you think up creative ways to do the thing that you were trying to do before. That said, there's also the Wi-Fi controller. Now, these controllers should be Bluetooth enabled. There's no reason they can't be. They should be Bluetooth enabled, and they should be able to work directly off of a wired connection too. There's nothing saying they can't do it, but if you're pushing Wi-Fi, okay. And I know why they did it, because this is something that they're pulling from the Wii U. Actually, a couple of things that they did are things that the Wii U did natively, which people won't even admit that. People won't admit that directly. But The gamepad was a Wi-Fi controller. It wasn't Bluetooth. It was Wi-Fi based because Nintendo had the Wi-Fi chip specifically in the Wii U for connecting to the gamepad and directly connecting to it. And that was why sometimes it could get interference from your Wi-Fi network if you had just like your settings all messed up. You could get interference and it could mess with the stability of the connection between the Wii U and the gamepad. And I see Google is trying to set it up so that the input is going directly through to them and back. But at the same time, if you have an unstable Wi-Fi connection, that input lag is going to increase drastically. It's going to increase drastically. Because the more devices running directly off of the Wi-Fi, the more bandwidth it has to use. So, controller inputs probably don't have a whole lot of information, but that is another device that has to be connected to Wi-Fi. And that could cause problems. Now, if it was going directly through whatever device you were using, like any other controller that can be used with this service, there'd be less of a chance of it causing issue because you have something else processing that information and sending it all together instead of it being separated. At that point, you're actually having two separate devices send information back and forth to the same place, and sometimes it's not going to work out well. Alright, and now multiplayer, here's a concern of mine for multiplayer. And that's because of playing Sonic the Hedgehog 2 Remastered through Google Play. Now, I've played that game with my kids, us playing literally right next to each other. And there's sometimes lag on one of us that makes it look like we're not positioned where we are. And it happened quite often with that particular game. Where my Wi-Fi was set up, I didn't have issues with other stuff. It was just that game in particular. But what I'm saying is, the point being here is that could go. Gosh, I got a frog in my throat there. That could cause a problem if one device just slightly misses sending the signal properly for even half of a fraction of a second. It could totally throw off your gameplay. This is something that's not relegated to Stadia at all. It's with all platforms that can be a problem. But just thinking about that, if say we're playing the same game, say they get Valve to put Left 4 Dead on here, just if it happens. And everybody's playing locally together, but everybody's playing on separate devices. One person could have the worst connection out of the group of people that are sitting locally to each other. And it could lag on them where they think that they've done something or helped out and taken out a zombie with one of their friends being attacked, and the game misses the signal. It misses the input signal. And then, once it all fixes itself, you find out, hey, the zombie didn't get killed and your friend died, and now everybody's turned and angry at you because you wrecked this straight awesome gameplay session that y'all had. But it's not necessarily on the player, because you might have the best Wi-Fi setup that you can possibly have in your house. So, and you may have all of your devices individually given a static IP address. That does help. And you can do all of the finagling you can with the oh gosh, man, I would need Shadow Fox for all this because I can't think of all of it off the top of my head. But you can basically do everything that you can to make your connection as stable as possible for every individual device. And there could still be issues. I don't know why I'm yawning. I'm sorry, everybody. Whoever got hit with that one, I'm sorry. But, yeah, there's that. Then there, people, I can understand why they haven't announced the price point And they haven't announced first-party games yet because they probably don't have all that stuff straight just yet. Like, and it's going to take them some time. Like, but I have the funny feeling that this... I mean, yeah, they have to be really far along anyway, but they're probably waiting for E3 to really try to hit hard. And they're probably going to do an end-of-summer launch, is what my thoughts are. I don't think this is going to be something they're going to try to do holiday season, because that might be suicide for them if they did. Because all of the established platforms will be doing very well around then. So, not the best idea. Thinking. I'm sitting here trying to think of something else to really harp on, but I can't just yet, like, because there's still other stuff to go over. But I've given you at least a decent rundown of the negatives of it that are apparent to me in the onset. We really don't know. Here's another thing to think about. We don't know how pricing of games is going to work on this platform because there's no physical platform. So that may affect how the games are priced for it. That's something to think about. And I know people are going to say, well, don't immediately think that, but like, it's not something that I'm saying is going to happen, but it is a possible concern to look out for. That's all I'm pointing towards. That's all I'm trying to make sure everybody's aware of. That is a possible concern that you may have to worry about. Oh, sorry, yawning again. Sorry it's early. I'm just thinking to myself, if I'm going to pay extra money for the game because I'm not paying for the physical hardware to play the game on, it might make me reconsider the physical hardware versus the non-physical. That's all. That's it. That's really it. I mean, the physical platform versus the non-physical platform. I don't know why I said the word hardware, but whatever. So now that that's all taken care of, and we're 12 minutes in, I think I'm going to go over some of the positives I've seen of Stadia, which, cool. It's cool that you can, play it on any device. That's nice that you can do that. There's something that did it before, and I'm forgetting the name of it right now. I want to say Rainway was it. It was Rainway. I think Rainway did this before. Rainway was first. So that's that. So Google doesn't get the rights to say that they were the first ones to do it. They weren't. It was Rainway. The next thing to consider thinking about is that was more of a negative than a positive. I don't know why I brought that up. But it's cool you can play it on any device. Cool that you can basically use any controller that you want with it, as long as you have your controller connected to the device that you're playing on. It's nice to have the options of being able to use Google Voice to help with tips and hints and stuff like that. It's nice that there's like showings of the capability of asymmetrical gameplay in a localized setting, which is something the Wii U did again. And then there's what was it, state share, where you could basically it's save states, but you're able to share your save states with other people, which is technically not a brand new concept, because if you play on PC and you played on emulators on PC, you can do this exact same thing, honestly, completely for free, because all you would have to do is play a game, save a save state of it, take that data and give it to somebody else using the same emulator in the same game, and then you've got it. Like, you just share all that information to them, and then they can pick up whatever scenario you left off on. So it's not new, but it's nice that it's there. It's a cool concept for something for a platform. Then there's the utilization of YouTube, which the way it's being utilized is actually pretty cool, where you can just join in the game that you see live somebody else playing. That's awesome. I like that idea. Like, that's actually pretty nice. It's pretty cool. So I can see how that would work out pretty well, especially if a lot of people start live streaming, and they use Stadia while they're live streaming, that would be awesome. Because again, this is going to require a very stable connection in the first place, so it's not going to make much of a difference. But I have to stop for a second, so I'm going to pause, and then I'll pick this back up once I come back. Okay, I'm back. Where did I leave off? I believe I left off with the utilization of YouTube. Hey, go ahead, lady. You walk on by, so I don't accidentally run you over, because that would not be good for me. But no, the utilization of YouTube is nice with the live streaming and be able to join the streams and stuff like that, and being able to set up basically using your live stream as a playroom for your audience. I think that's actually pretty cool. And like using it as a matchmaking service, that's awesome, because you could at any point, for somebody who's also playing on Stadia, playing games on Stadia with you, you could just join them. Or if a game is cross-platform and it's on Stadia, that would also be nice, because then you can join somebody just by, hopefully, if my interpretation of the situation is correct, if somebody's playing a game, even if they're playing on a different platform and they're live streaming, you can just join them with Stadia, as long as it's cross-platform play compatible on that other platform. I mean, it's a lot to think about. So the possibilities are pretty cool. And again, going back to stuff that the Wii U is doing with asymmetrical gameplay and stuff like that, I like that idea. I like that concept. I've always liked that concept, which is hence why I've talked about it several times and other things. Like with my Pitch for Switch videos, I've talked about it before. On several other occasions. I like when there's characters that have different functions, or a game that has different functions and play styles that work together to achieve a goal. Like, that type of stuff is fun and interesting to me. Let me see, what else can I think of? I mean, it's also nice that you could basically have a good list of AAA games in your pocket to play, but again, it's been done before by something else already. That's why I'm like, it's a cool concept, but it's not like the end-all be-all of everything. It's nice, but that's where it has to stay. It's a nice thing. It's awesome, but it's not the end-all be-all. I've already talked about the use of versatility of different controllers and stuff, and you can do mouse and keyboard. So, like, if you're a PC player and you don't want to use a gamepad or a controller, you can do that. You can use mouse and keyboard. Another downside, and I meant to say something about this, it will be definitely hefty on whatever system you have it on, with Google Chrome being a resource hog. So playing games through Google Chrome with Stadia, and Google Chrome itself is a resource hog, that's going to be a bit of a problem. But I mean, most of the heavy lifting is supposed to be done by their servers and stuff like that, which is cool. It's fine by me. I mean, I get that being the point and everything. And other streaming services did similar stuff, like OnLive and things like that before. So, like, I get that. I do understand that. Like, but again, a lot of this depends on your Wi-Fi connection and, like, your internet connection in general, just how well it works. And while I do like that, and I like what they're doing for the developers, where basically Stadia itself is an instance for it basically is a control room for game development, and that's actually really nice. But they shouldn't expect that everybody's just going to jump on board immediately. Like, even with all the stuff that they're giving people, like they have id Software and quite a few others that are like excited to join. Like, that's good news. Like, and that's something I'm looking forward to see what these developers are capable of doing with it. But I don't want them to think that they're just going to come into the market and blow it out the water, because that's not necessarily going to happen. And we already have a Play Anywhere device in the Switch. So, like that, while the Switch may have its hardware limitations, you can literally play it anywhere. You actually can play it anywhere. So for Stadia, where there may be a drop in a signal or something like that, or places where you might not have good internet, it's going to have problems. There's going to be issues for it. But even still, I'm still interested in thinking up the possibilities for it, thinking of games and things that could be made on it. Hell, hey Google, if you're looking for ideas for first-party games, I have a ton of them. Literally, I have a channel full of stuff that you could peruse. Like there's no undertones there for me whatsoever. But I just think the concept is cool. I like the idea. I want to see it actually be successful. But there are quite a few barriers that are in Google's path that, yeah, I can see why people are worried about it. I'm sorry, people. I gotta eat. I haven't had anything, and it's still early, and I'm on my way to work. So that was why there was a pause in the video. I stopped to go get stuff. So I wasn't having you guys watch me get snacks. But I like the concept. The idea is cool. I'm interested. I want to see where it goes. I want to see what they do with it. So honestly, it's one of those things that if they can pull it off, it would be awesome. It would be amazing. Oh, and I don't know why I didn't mention this, but if you don't have like the 4K quality and stuff like this, it's not necessary. But if you don't have 4K quality, even if you're even if you're playing and you don't get 4K quality, or you just have the settings turned down on your end, when you're streaming or recording, it automatically goes to YouTube at 4K, 60 frames. It automatically does it. Even if on your end of things it doesn't work out that well, they do a separate stream that goes directly to YouTube. It's a nice little additional feature. It's not a must, but it's okay to have. It's a nice little additional feature. I mean, there are definite workarounds for other platforms to do the exact same thing if you really want to, but they have it built into theirs. That's all. I had another thought. No, I lost it. I wholeheartedly had another thought and I completely lost it. But there's not a whole lot more to really talk too much about it. I mean, other than I'm looking forward to see what they're offering, what they're going to do as far as pricing and stuff like that, how it's going to be integrated with the other services that they have currently. Like, are these games just going to start popping up on Google Play and have like the Stadia listing on top of them, or is Stadia going to be a whole different storefront? And then with mobile games that are already out, are they going to connect directly with the mobile versions of a lot of these games, or is it just going to be Stadia itself, and Stadia is going to be as isolated to itself? See, those are things that Google didn't really go over. And those are things that I'm kind of interested in finding out. I want to know. Because if they're going to blend it with Google Play, that actually wouldn't be a bad idea. Because then you could blend it with Google Play and you can basically play it on any device. Yeah, that would actually be a smart move. But if they're not going to, then what is going to be the solution? Is Stadia going to have like a different storefront on multiple different services? Like you're going to have one on Google Play, then you'll have a Chrome browser extension type deal or something like that. Or Chromebook's going to have something else that it launches. Like that's something that they really need to answer and let people know of. Because, I mean, yeah, there's all this stuff supposed to be interconnected and stuff like that. You're supposed to be able to take your gameplay from one device to the next seamlessly. But that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to happen. So, and it's not like people can't set up their own localized game servers and have their own localized cloud to play their games off of and just share it to other devices, because that's been possible. And Linus Tech Tips has shown how to do that before. So it's not like that's a brand new idea or a brand new concept. So again, something to think about. But no, I don't really have anything else to really go on with this. It's just something that's interesting to me. I like the concept, I like the idea, but there are definitely some shortcomings to worry about. And honestly, I just want to see where it leads personally. So that's it. I am going to do a series. I don't know how long it's going to be, but I'm going to do a series of game ideas for Stadia. It's going to be called Stadia Play. My daughter helped me come up with a name, so it's going to be Stadia Play. That's all it's going to be. I have yet to actually do any videos on it or come up with any concepts for it. But give me a week and a half, and I'll have something for you guys. That's it. Thank you guys very much for listening. Keep your eyes and ears out for more stuff from me. And until next time, enjoy your games. Peace out.